Hello everyone and welcome to another video. How's everyone doing and how is your week going? In today's video, I want to talk about something I've been thinking about lately. The true meaning of being the carry. This game wasn't anything fancy, especially in the early stages. Our Rengar jungler tried to invade and kill us 1 versus 1. But sadly for him, we weren't even fazed by his jump scare. And luckily for us, the team reacted slowly, allowing to come and help. I've noticed that whenever I have supportive teammates who help me in the jungle, I feel the urge to repay them by being there whenever they need me. But back to the earlier question. What does it really mean to be the carry? A lot of people think being the carry means you have to do everything to win the game. Get the most kills, make the right calls, be unstoppable, take down towers, and just dominate the game. It's the stuff commentators and analysts love to hype up in every tournament. But in my humble opinion, being the carry is more like providing for your family, helping them live a good day-to-day life. Think about it. You carry your kids by giving them food, shelter, playtime, and assistance with their homework. In other words, you're carrying them from one level of existence to another. By doing that, you embody what it means to carry. Let's say you have someone disabled in your family, and you're the one responsible for them. That's the purest form of being the carry. You're there for them, providing for their needs. And that's exactly what's asked of us in every game too. But let me be clear, you don't have to perform exceptionally in every game. For example, in this game, just the fact that I had a reactive team made the game way more enjoyable. I became the carry simply by being there. My presence helped my team play better. They felt safe, and even if I failed a gank, it still succeeded in denying the enemy any form of advancement or pressure. More importantly, my mental fortitude wasn't shaken by the events of the game, and that's something rare, especially for me. It's not every game that I feel so steady no matter what happens. There's always that one person who somehow sends subconscious signals that make you want to smack them, like Will Smith did at the Oscars. Their level of stupidity is just mind-numbing. They make a dumb decision and then want to blame random people in an online game. Honestly, if I heard in the news that someone like that got hit by a car, or even worse, I wouldn't feel a single bit of empathy. Because what are you even doing with your life? The bare minimum required to coexist with others is to not cause harm, mind your own business, and just be a decent human being. If someone can't even manage those 3 simple things, then frankly, they're not really contributing to anything. They're just like space debris, floating around, not contributing, just waiting to be removed. Now back to our main topic. Why should we go Black Cleaver? Well, Black Cleaver is an incredibly efficient item. Among all the items in League of Legends, Black Cleaver, Abyssal Mask, Locket, and Redemption are some of the most gold efficient. The idea behind Black Cleaver is that it reduces 30% of the target's armor after you deal damage to them. So if you're using an AD AoE champion, this item is much easier to stack, especially on champions like Aatrox, Scion, and such. For Volibear, it's great because it provides movement speed, which is crucial, alongside attack damage, cooldown, and health. You also benefit from the armor shred, which is important against teams that will likely build resistances later in the game. Plus, this effect benefits your allies too. Since I was experimenting, I thought this might be the perfect game to try Black Cleaver, and it turned out to be a lot of fun. Now, it's tough to rush Black Cleaver as your first item. You can consider it against champions like Rammus or Malphite, but otherwise, it's best as a second or third item. Since they buffed Black Cleaver indirectly by fixing a bug that prevented the armor reduction from stacking properly, it's back as one of the best choices for bruiser AD champions. If you look at our team composition, we had 3 physical damage dealers, so going Black Cleaver as my second or third item was like giving everyone a mini Last Whisper. It's very strong and useful in that scenario, but of course not everyone thinks about their allies when building items. That's why I felt like I carried this game just by being present, and that's the core role of a jungler, believe it or not. As a jungler, I'd say 50% of carrying is just being there at the right time, and the other 50% is on your teammates not dying before you arrive. That's the essential dynamic between the jungler and the lanes. The jungler needs to be in the right place at the right time, and the allies need to be patient. In my opinion, jungling is one of the hardest roles to learn because, unlike other roles, it requires a lot of macro knowledge and decision-making. Support, on the other hand, requires much less effort. You can pick any champion, slap it in the support role, and just exist in the lane. If they ever bring back the random button for champion select, I'm convinced that a random champion in the support role could still reach Master or Grandmaster faster than you could reach Diamond as a jungler. Support doesn't require much brainpower or macro knowledge. The main job of the support is to be a constant pain for the enemy team until they start spamming FF. So yeah, I'm totally in favor of turning support into a secondary jungler role. It would be absolute chaos in the river, with both sides fighting over Herald and Drake. It would spice things up and give the game that competitive edge over objectives again. Buffing large monsters, specifically Herald and Drake, by just 5% or 10% would bring back some of the glory days and make fights over objectives even more intense. Regarding our situation in this game, you might think that we are winning and the game is over. But to be honest, the score is deceiving because at any moment, we can start losing. Smolder is suffering from ADHD and can't focus on anything unless the screen starts flashing in front of him. Renekton may not be the top laner to play in this situation because he's not familiar with the Gragas matchups. He doesn't want to split, he wants to group and fight, which is understandable given our composition since we have Neela and Seraphine. But it feels like a waste of time and almost like we're giving more time to the enemy team since they have Rengar. Rengar is one of those champions that excels in solo queue, given the lack of coordination and communication. Most of the time, you'll find Rengar players wiping out your bot side. I stopped banning Rengar and started banning Lilia. I started banning Lilia because she can turn Volibear into a very useless champion. I used to ban Rengar because he would make your carries constantly vulnerable. But these days is not as bad as it used to be since we have Kai'Sa, Neela, and Xayah. They can counter Rengar easily and any hard-engaged champions. All champions that have self-peeling abilities can survive against him, unlike in previous seasons. So yeah, at this stage, I'm hoping we end the game as fast as possible because the moment Rengar reaches full lethality, he'll start deleting me too, which is funny because I'm supposed to be the front lane. Rengar's got this one-punch man effect because his ultimate guarantees a crit with armor penetration on a supposed melee ability that can hit from range. His abilities allow him to get 2 extra attacks if his passive is fully stacked, and with the new items he can become even harder to pin down. He can get away with ease. His kit gives him invisibility, heals him, and lets him escape dangerous situations. Yeah, Rengar's not someone you can mess with. The only way to win against Rengar is by understanding his damage and being mentally prepared. I used to get jump scared by Rengar whenever he'd leap out of a bush because his sound effect is terrifying, especially with a good headset. And of course, we are also a menace because right now this Xerath has learned a valuable lesson. It's not wise to poke and stay in the general direction of someone who's ready to throw hands. Now he knows I can kill him whenever I want. As you can see, sometimes whenever you want is not the best time to do anything. But we managed to die there, even though we could have secured the Baron buff. You'll often find yourself in this situation, making aggressive plays at the wrong time. Trust me when I say this is my fatal flaw. I've lost so many games because at the end of the mid-game or the start of the late game, I made a poor call to take Baron, push for an extra tower, or make another aggressive play because I was tilted. Here we are again, slightly losing. The team is flaming and I can't stand it anymore. You just wish someone would make a good play to turn things around. But instead, everyone flames more, people get banned or restricted, and we lose the game. So yeah, it happens. At this stage of the game, everyone should set their priorities straight. The enemy team is thinking about securing Baron and Soldrake, while we're thinking about closing out the game. If you ever feel that focusing on objectives might lose you the game, I urge you to shift your focus to what truly matters. In this instance, even though we got the Baron, the Dragon Call isn't about getting the Drake. Even if they get the soul, it's not about the Drake itself. The call is to bait the enemy into a fight where we have the superior advantage. Our goal isn't to secure the Drake, but to kill the enemy team. Once we do that, we can end the game. Of course, some of your allies will start making strange movements, like Renekton jumping in without thinking. Trust me, don't follow their lead. If you sense that your teammates will fail you in this exact moment, leave them and push mid. This one decision will be the difference between controlling the game and being controlled. With Baron buff, even if the enemy gets the Soul Drake, the fact that you're pushing mid lane puts immense pressure on them. They'll start making losing calls, and that will create opportunities for your team because they'll be facing enemies who are panicking and miscoordinating their engages. So yeah, most of the time, if you put a League of Legends player between two drastic situations, they'll choose a third option, which I call the stupid decision. But in this case, it worked out well for us. We gave up the Drake, but we killed the enemy team. With that small step toward a potential loss, thanks to bot side making a solid engage, we managed to end the game. And with that, my dear viewers, our time together has reached its end. Make sure to subscribe, leave me a comment, drop a like, and since I'm a huge fan of Volibear, don't hesitate to suggest any builds you'd like to see on this champion. Until our next video, take care everyone, and peace.